Imagine walking into a crowded room, your heart thumping as you become suddenly hyper-aware of your every movement, gesture, and even the clothes you chose to wear that morning. Maybe you feel self-conscious about a pimple on your chin or the way your hair looks, and you're certain that everyone around you is noticing these things too. This feeling, that the eyes of the world are on us, and our mistakes, is what psychologists call the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect is a cognitive bias, a systematic error in thinking that leads people to believe they are being noticed more than they actually are. This illusion doesn't just influence our feelings of embarrassment or pride. It constantly reshapes how we behave in social situations, driving our anxieties and sometimes even holding us back from expressing ourselves authentically. At the heart of the spotlight effect is a simple psychological truth. Everyone is the center of their own universe. Our thoughts, feelings, and experiences are always at the forefront of our minds, and it's only natural to assume, at least unconsciously, that they must also be at the forefront of everyone else's. But the reality is far different. Most people are too busy thinking about their own lives, their problems, hopes, and insecurities to pay much attention to the minutiae of what others do or say. This phenomenon was first formally observed and described by psychologists Thomas Gilovich, Victoria Husted-Medvec, and Kenneth Savitsky in a pioneering study in the year 2000. In their now famous experiment, they asked participants to wear a bright, embarrassing t-shirt, often one featuring the notably unhip pop artist Barry Manilow, into a room full of strangers. The researchers then asked these participants to estimate how many people in the room noticed the t-shirt and could recall what was on it. As you might guess, participants wildly overestimated how many people had actually paid any attention. These findings have been replicated and extended in numerous other situations. Whether it's delivering a presentation, stumbling over your words, or even spilling coffee on your shirt, the same prediction holds true. We think others notice these moments far more than they actually do. In truth, most people are not paying nearly as much attention as we fear. Why does the spotlight effect matter? For one, it can unnecessarily amplify feelings of anxiety, shame, or embarrassment. After making a small mistake at work or school, you might find yourself replaying the moment again and again, convinced everyone else is doing the same. But in reality, most people have already moved on, if they noticed the slip at all. Instead of focusing on you, they are likely preoccupied with their own lives and concerns. Understanding the spotlight effect can be deeply liberating. It opens the door to self-compassion, reminding us that our mistakes, quirks, and imperfections are far less significant in the social world than we imagine. Have you ever hesitated to speak up in a group because you worried about saying something foolish, or kept quiet in a meeting because you feared you'd be judged? These are classic spotlight effect moments. Recognizing this bias can serve as a powerful antidote to social paralysis, making it easier to take risks, be yourself, and engage more fully in the world. But the spotlight effect doesn't just fuel our social anxieties, it also clouds our judgments in everyday life. For example, when people engage in acts of kindness or charity, they often overestimate how much others will notice and appreciate their good deeds. Conversely, when we make a misstep, we believe the negative attention will last much longer than it actually does. Most people are simply not tuned in to notice every nuance of our behavior. Parents and educators, too, can benefit from understanding the spotlight effect. Children and teenagers, in particular, are acutely sensitive to the judgment of peers. The turmoil of adolescence can amplify the spotlight effect, making each social hiccup or fashion mishap seem like a looming disaster. Reminding young people that others are usually too busy worrying about themselves to notice every little misstep can be a powerful reassurance during these formative years. Practical strategies exist to combat the grip of the spotlight effect. The first step is awareness. Simply knowing about the bias can reduce its power over your behavior and emotions. The next time you catch yourself sweating the small stuff, take a moment to step back and ask, are people really noticing this as much as I think? Chances are, they're not. Another technique is to reframe your focus outward instead of inward. Try shifting your attention to the people around you. Listen actively, ask questions, and participate in the moment. By doing this, not only do you alleviate your own anxiety, but you also become a more engaging and present conversationalist. It's also worth embracing self-acceptance. Understand that everyone, at some point, feels socially awkward or embarrassed. These moments are simply part of being human. They do not define you, and they certainly aren't written on some invisible scoreboard for all the world to see. Perhaps one of the most freeing realizations is this: the same way you worry about how others perceive you, everyone else is likely caught in their own version of the spotlight effect. In a sense, we're all actors on our own stages, each convinced the audience is laser-focused on us, when in reality, most are just as preoccupied with their own performances. The next time you're tempted to replay that awkward handshake, stumble over your words, or wince at your outfit in the mirror, remember the lessons of the spotlight effect. Maybe your colleagues noticed, but maybe they didn't. And either way, they were likely more forgiving than you assume. Life is full of little moments and small mistakes, but they rarely loom as large in the eyes of others as they do in our own minds. Understanding the spotlight effect doesn't mean disregarding the feelings of self-consciousness that arise in daily life. Those feelings are real and valid. But it does invite you to challenge the inner narrative that says everyone is watching and judging. More often than not, they're just living their own lives, as you should live yours, free from the imagined glare of the spotlight.